Just two things I want to mention about divorce. And one is that whenever you preach on divorce, it's a very touchy topic, not only for those listening, but also for the preachers. So some of the preachers have some very sensitive issues in that area. And you have to be aware of that as you listen to them preach. And evaluate whether they are authentically representing what you're reading there in Scripture. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that although I did speak about it from a man's perspective, the man, and he has a wife who commits fornication against him, it goes the other way also. As you saw in the Scriptures, it does mention the reverse as well, when a woman divorces the man, right? So please don't, go crazy in the comments below, saying I'm a sexist or something like that, all right? I'm a biblicist, okay? That's what I am. So whatever it says in the Bible is what it says. And it does say both ways. So just keep that in mind. When I'm analyzing it, I don't need to go and analyze it just the opposite when it's exactly the same. The conclusion holds for either gender, either way. So the important thing with divorce is that you are faithful to that bond that God created, and that you don't put asunder what God had joined together. And as we see, putting asunder can happen in many ways, but especially it can happen by divorcing, like separating from the wife and divorcing, or a husband, and also by committing fornication, taking your flesh out of that union and joining it to someone else. So, and then also the last one, of course, as we see, is the unbelieving spouse who refuses to stay. So just be careful. Try to honor what God has brought together, and don't be the one who is guilty of putting asunder. Don't divorce unless there's fornication by the other party. Don't commit fornication yourself. And, well, don't leave, right? Don't leave the marriage. So, and if you're an unbeliever, well, you still need to honor this bond that God has made with you and your Christian spouse. And if you do, your Christian spouse will stay and will honor it, or should. If they don't, then they are the ones who commit adultery and put asunder, break what God has put together. And you're not the one who's guilty. They would be. When I look at issues like this, I like to bring it back to the core central focus of the Christian walk, which is humility. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So if you are in a marriage and you're having troubles, and you're praying and asking for help from God, and you're not finding it, the first place to look is right here. First thing to do is break yourself, throw yourself on the floor, just demolish yourself. You're nothing. You're a bag of dirt that God breathed life into and turned the lights on. That's it. Your opinions about things don't matter. Whether you're right or wrong, or he or she's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Because you're both bags of dirt filled with the breath of God and the lights turned on. Nothing you have belongs to you. And you didn't create yourself, neither did your parents. You're not here because of them. You're here because of God. God's the one who created you in the womb. They only created the opportunity for God to create you. He didn't have to, but he did at that moment. So everything that you have, you owe to God. And you realize that you're going to be gone soon. This life is very short. Very short. It seems long when you're young, because you haven't seen so many days. But as you get older, you see more and more days, and then everything looks very familiar, and then time starts to speed up. There are ways of slowing it down, but still, this is a very brief life. You're nothing. You're here, then you're gone. And what can you do? The extent of your influence is as long as your arm. That's it. Beyond that, You don't know. You can throw something. You might hit something. You might not. You don't know. A wind might come up. Someone might knock it out of the way. Who knows? So, I remember there was a ball game and they hit a home run, but it didn't go because it hit a bird and fell right into the park. So, you never know what's going to happen. Your influence reaches this far, and even that you're not sure of. If you get into an arm wrestling contest, you're not sure. That's still your influence, but you don't know if you can make it happen or not. So, in what lasts after we're gone, we have no guarantee of anything, and we cannot make sure of anything. We can try. But for what purpose? While we're here, we need to treat other people with great respect as complete equals with us. Because none of our opinions matter, and nothing that we do matters, except to love one another. And that's true in marriage. And even if the other spouse puts asunder what God has joined together, you must still demonstrate love to them during the whole process. No matter how hurt you are, you must demonstrate love to them. And if you can't, that means that you're proud. And God will oppose you. And you wonder why things are going wrong. God opposes the proud. Even if you don't appear proud to other people, God knows the heart. But He gives grace to the humble. Did He save you? How did He save you? Was it by your works? Something you did? Some special family you were born into? Of course not. Ephesians 2 destroys that. We are saved by grace. By grace. How did we receive this grace? Now you're going to get upset because I'm going to tell you how. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So somehow, you were humble in your heart. And God gave grace to you. He does not give grace to the proud. He gives grace to the humble. Now, how you became humbled is a whole nother teaching. Another sermon, another day. But the fact that you received grace from God means that you were humble at some point. And if you're no longer receiving that grace and you're having troubles right and left and struggles that are not because you're a Christian, then it's because of you. And you need to examine yourself. And you need to, even if you can't see it by examining it, you need to break yourself. You need to ask God to help you break yourself and just start confessing that you are nothing and nothing that you think or say matters. All that matters is to love your brother and sister in the Lord, love your spouse. That's it. Worship God. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and to shun evil is understanding. And when you shun evil, and when you fear Yahweh, then you're starting on humility. And that's Job 28:28, by the way. And God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. You'll find that in Peter, and you'll find it in James. And they're only quoting the Old Testament, so you find it there as well. It's a core feature of being a Christian. And if you don't have that, I don't care what you call yourself. I don't care what you've done. You're not a Christian. Because you can't receive grace from God if you're not humble. There's only one way, and it's a very narrow path, and it's very difficult to find. There are obstacles that are concealing it, the gate. But when you find it, and you travel on it, this is the path of humility. And it's very hard. Most people will not go on that path. They refuse. They're on this broad, easy path with a molded gate above it. They should have a neon light saying, "This way to hell." Because everyone who trods that path is trotting a path of pride. No matter how humble they look, they're trotting a path of pride. Pride will not lead you to heaven. Standing your ground against your spouse on some argument will not lead you to heaven. It will lead you to hell. You must be humble. Who are you? You're a sinner when Christ died for you. You're a sinner when Christ saved you. He brought you into the way of salvation, that way of humility. He showed you the gate. He was the gate. He showed you the path. He put you on the path. Now, if you run off that path and run back over to the broad path, that's your business. But I'm warning you, Christian, right now, that if you do that, I will not see you in the city of God. You'll be in the lake of burning sulfur. You have this choice today. You have this choice right now. Either be like Christ or go to hell. You have two choices. Humble yourself. Stop fighting. Remember to subscribe down below and like the video and share it on your Facebook and other social media. And then make a comment, whether a question or a comment. We read all of them and we try to respond to all. Get on over to our website, The Rooted Word, and start reading the translation and also the articles we've posted. It's at therootedword.com, therootedword.com. And may the Lord bless you as you seek Him with all your heart.